Alright, so today's project is to replace these cheap single pane aluminum frame windows with some nice vinyl ones. These ones are made for high altitude. They are for the northern part of the United States, and they are the low E with argon. So these are actually a little bit bigger than the windows I'm replacing, so we have to do some extra framing in order to make these guys fit. But yeah, let's go ahead and start the demolition. We'll take the old ones out, put the new ones in. I already started taking the old ones out, and this one here, I don't know if you can tell, but it shattered, so I had to clean all that up already. So we already had one little fun problem, but I got it all cleaned up. Alright, so the first thing, I'm just gonna knock these off. And then underneath, you'll be able to see where they were nailed in all along here. So we just have to remove those nails. Well, I'm tall, but I'm not quite tall enough to get that. And these are not even boards. These are made out of MDF. It's trash. It's not even wood. All right, there we go. Now I just have to remove the window itself. It's just held in by these nails, and I want to make sure, I'll do my best to not lose the nails in the grass. I do have to metal detect the entire yard, so I'll find them eventually anyway. I just don't want targets I don't need. Trash cans right there. I think I could actually get this entire window out. Maybe pry a couple more on this side. Might be able to just pull it straight out. That would be nice. Nothing more valuable than time. And I was just gonna say to the camera, and maybe I can get it out without smashing the window. Guess not. Sometimes it pays to have patience. I don't have much of it, but it's kind of like speeding down the highway. It's like you can get there faster, but there's a chance you'll get pulled over and then you'll be an hour late. The same idea kind of goes for everything. Got one more nail here. What you do. Get rid of this ladder. Okay. And I did cut it right here with the Sawzall, just to kind of make it, if I needed to make it smaller for any reason, I could just bend it. But I think it'll pull right out. Oh, there's one more nail right there. There it is. All right, I'll get rid of this, and we'll go to the next step. So the window is 47.5 by 35.5, and the hole is 47 by 35.25, which means we have to widen it by a 1/2 inch and make it taller by a 1/4 inch. So that's not a problem. The only thing we have to be conscious of is we don't want to remove any of this structure, right? This is two 2x4s together, and we don't want to just remove a 1/2 inch, then it would only be that much. We want to add some backing to that to make sure that the frame is still just as strong. Now, in order to make it a 1/4 inch wider, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of this rotted piece right here, and I'm just going to use a piece of 1/2 inch hardwood right there, and then that should be good enough. So that'll give us our correct size hole.
Right, so first I had to go ahead and remove some of that insulation,
And then I added another 2x4 to each side of the framing around the window, just to make it a little more sturdy. It really wasn't necessary to do that, but it's not going to hurt anything. I actually had some extra 2x4s laying around, so why not? At this point, I'm just actually cutting the studs below the windowsill, bringing them down about, I think I brought them down an inch, which turned out to be too much, but it was fine because I needed some wiggle room when I had to install the window. Then I had to basically sawzall into the sides there and remove those 2x4s, and then replace them with pieces of pine that were just a little bit narrower. They were 3/4 inch, and that made it exactly 47 and a half inches exactly. So you'll see here in a second when I install the window, it fits exactly perfectly. All right, we got the window all framed out. I took the bottom down 1.5 inches, and then I put in just a 2x4 to fit in there. So that means I have 1 inch of wiggle room up and down, which is what we need in order to get it level. And side to side, it's exactly 47 and a half. It's almost a little too close, but hopefully my measurements and everything works perfectly. It should fit tightly in there. The next thing I'm just going to do is take some of this great stuff, expanding foam, and I'm going to go around all these little cracks and divots and just kind of fill in any kind of wind that might come through. Also, I had to remove this insulation to fit in that next 2x4, so I'm going to fill that in with more insulation on both sides, and then we can put the window in. Definitely not that difficult to do. Just measure twice, cut once, measure 3 times, cut once, and you should be okay. Okay, here's the finished window. It seemed to work just great. This piece here was the tricky part, because I knew I couldn't remove it completely because I needed support for the header up here, but I was able to find some pine that was just a little bit shorter than the original 2x4s that were there, and that allowed the window to fit in perfectly. Thanks for subscribing or visiting this channel, KleshGuitars. I know that if you're watching this, you probably came from my main channel, Klesh, so thanks so much for coming over here and being interested in woodworking and guitar making and stuff like that. So this video is just going to kind of document what I do for replacing a window. So this shop, when it was built in 2003, it was built with 2 cheap, like little single pane aluminum windows. So I already did one of them. That was kind of like a trial and error thing. And then we're gonna do the other one, which is right over here. And this video is just gonna be kind of a step-by-step how I do it. It's not that difficult. It's basically remove old window, make hole the right size, insert window, screw it in. So, but there's some little tricks and stuff that I want to show you guys in case you ever think about doing this for yourself. By the way, I'm not a contractor. None of this is up to code. I don't know if it's the right way to do things. This is a detached garage, so whether it's up to code or not doesn't really matter. But if you're doing this in a house or something, don't take my advice. But anyway, hope you guys enjoy the video. So this window is 35 and a half inches long and 35 and a half inches tall. This hole is 35 inches wide and 35 inches tall, so it's a 1/2 inch too small. So the first thing I want to do is remove the window itself and then take this piece out here. Remove this piece. I'm going to cut down about 1 inch all the way across on these studs, and then wherever that comes to, I'm going to cut into this one to make it wider. All right, I was just getting ready to start cutting this apart, and I noticed my first coin on the property. It is a shield penny. Definitely not the best thing to find, but it is a coin. I have to get the actual window out of there. I actually managed to remove this side without smashing any glass. Now I have to get this side out without smashing it. So in order to do that, I have to remove this all the way around. Here I just have a pry bar and a hammer. Just gonna pry that off, get all the nails out, and that piece will come off in one big piece. This is like 20 years worth of dead flies and stuff here on the windowsill. So like I said, I'm gonna be removing. We got the window out. Now I got to remove this piece and cut these studs down about an inch, actually like a ½ inch, and then straight over into this beam, and then replace this beam with a thinner one. That way we widen the hole and then lengthen the hole. All right, so I got that piece ripped out. I got the two side pieces ripped out. So I wanted to get this piece in here first so that the thinner pine board has something to sit on here. All this stuff here, this is all shims. This is to make sure that it's level, which it is. It's level this way and this way. So next, I have to make these pine boards here and put them in. Okay, so I now have 2x4s back in here. I thought I was gonna need pine, thinner pine, but these actually fit pretty good. I'm still gonna have to trim a little bit of this siding because it's pretty close to being exact. It's like 35 by 35 exactly. So that window should pop right in there almost exactly. And I have this perfectly level, so there shouldn't be a big issue with leveling. So it should pop right in there. And yeah, pretty easy. All right, so I got the flashing tape on there. I went ahead and stapled it a little bit on the outside just to keep it down. Now we get to put the window in. All right, well, it's dark out and I finally got the window in. This area right here was super tight, so I had to take the window out and put it back in a few times and refit it. I just took the jigsaw and I roughed it in. The only thing I still have to do is I still have to seal with expanding foam around the edges. There's not much of an edge there. It is a tight fit, but I'm going to do what I can. Definitely at least get an air barrier there. And that, let me show you the outside. So there's the outside. I just put caulking around it and then screwed it in. And it's done. Pretty easy. Took all day, but it was definitely fun. All right.